Anti-Poverty Platform and the St. Martin Consumers Foundation, we are looking at all these issues and the backdrop of your human rights and your rights to be and to have, basically, and to be able to live in the community. So the 41.8% tariff increase and the latest development, I will turn the word over to my brother Raymond Yesharoon.
We had a meeting this week with the St. Martin Medical Center management. The conclusion of that meeting was that this month the St. Martin Medical Center has been charging people the new tariffs that had an increase of 41.8%, which is what we have explained to the management of the medical center, a violation of the price ordinance and the national decree for the St. Martin Medical Center tariffs. The medical center is of another opinion. They find that they have the right to do this. They could not provide us with a national decree, a new national decree for the tariffs of the St. Martin Medical Center. And so what we did yesterday is we informed the Department of Price Control of the Tourism, Economic and Traffic and Telecommunication Department of this violation for them to do what they have to do. We understood that the insurance companies, the private insurance companies, got from the St. Martin Medical Center a grace period from 1 month not to pay the new tariffs. On the other hand, we have proof now from people that came with their bills that they have been paying the 41.8% increase in the tariffs. Some of them comparing what they were charged in December and what they were being charged now for consultations at the medical center. And yes, the 41.8%, you can clearly see that the St. Martin Medical Center is charging them without a national decree that is allowing them to change these tariffs. What we also got out of the meeting is that the SZV apparently does not have any tariffs anymore from the St. Martin Medical Center. They only have for them a budget which has been approved, and with that budget they will work. This, according to us, is also not what the law stipulates. There is a law for the ZV patients, medical tariffs, and also the hospital is identified in there with their tariffs. So we still are waiting for the answers that we have to get from Minister Lee. 3 weeks ago, we had this meeting with him where he promised to be transparent, where he promised to provide us with all the information that is needed for the society to know that all what they are doing is for us, the consumers. So it is in this respect that we are a bit disappointed that 3 weeks after our meeting, we still haven't received any answer from Minister Lee. We have asked for meetings with the department head of public health and the financial manager of SZV, because after the mixed committee meeting that we had with the representatives that they sent from the Department of Public Health, Social Development, and from the SZV, we did not get the answers on the agreement of the so-called tripartite, which is SZV, the Ministry of VSR, and the St. Martin Medical Center. So it is in this respect that we replied once more and that we requested once more of these authorities for them to sit at a table with us to provide us with the necessary information concerning the agreements. We also had asked the St. Martin Insurance Association for a meeting. This is still pending, and all we can tell you is this, that the grace period that has been given to them has to do with their position. The St. Martin Insurance Association, which is insuring consumers that we also defend, are not in agreement with the fact that the St. Martin Medical Center is charging tariffs without a national decree. And so they have informed the St. Martin Medical Center, and they have also informed Minister Lee, that as long as there is no new decree, they will adhere to the tariffs that has been established before.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more, however you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right, get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah, right. Accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NV.
The new St. Martin General Hospital. Based on a combination of both written and verbal commitments, we believe that we have finally secured the full amount of funds necessary to build the main hospital building for the new St. Martin General Hospital. We're in the process of finalizing all of the documentation, so loan documentations and different contracts. I'm hopeful that the formal signing can take place within the next few weeks. We are working very hard to make sure that this is completed as soon as possible. A total of approximately 135 million guilders has been secured via both via financial institutions from both St. Martin and Curaçao. We're very grateful to our partners in Curaçao. When I was there a few weeks ago, we had a number of meetings, and the atmosphere there and the tone there, where they said, look, we sympathize with what's happened in St. Martin, and we certainly want to do our part to help. I found that to be very comforting, very reassuring. The total investment is based on post-Irma specifications, meaning that obviously after Hurricane Irma, there's a recognition that we needed to revisit the design specifications and agreed that there was some necessity to improve the structure to make sure that it was resistant to Category 5+ hurricanes. In order to fund the upgrades to make the hospital hurricane resistant, some modifications to the layout may need to be made. The evaluation process is anticipated to be completed shortly. Our hope is that the construction could begin as early as March or April. The construction is projected to take 3 years. Besides the obvious health benefits, where we are bringing quality health care close to home, keep in mind this is also job creation. From the time the construction starts to the completion, there's obviously construction jobs that are going to be available for our people. But this also represents an opportunity for economic diversification. It's my belief that as we make St. Martin, the new General Hospital, a medical center of excellence, that we should bring patients from neighboring islands to St. Martin, and that represents an economic activity, and that represents an increase in jobs and well-paying jobs. In recognition that the hospital is really just a building and that we need to ensure that the quality of care that the hospital delivers is also improved as we improve the range of services. For that purpose, recently a delegation from FCV, or Fundación Cardiovascular de Colombia, visited St. Martin. They met with the Ministry of VSA, obviously, myself, SZV, and SMMC. It's interesting to note that FCV is actually the first hospital in Colombia to become JCI accredited in 2009. For those that don't know, JCI accreditation is an international standard that's used to certify the quality of different healthcare institutions. This is a globally recognized certification. And one of St. Martin's objectives is for the new St. Martin General Hospital to become JCI accredited. The delegation from FCV included the president, Dr. Victor Castillo, their business director, Dana Chahin, and their administrative director, Norberto Morales, who is also their JCI expert. So the first two, the president and the business director, they came for a couple of days for meetings, but the JCI expert stayed for a week, and he worked together with the SMMC in terms of trying to help them to develop a plan to work towards JCI.
Everyone has a role to play, and everyone is connected. My job as Minister of Finance is to manage the resources so that government services can be funded, and that is quite a task. The short of it is, for us to do what we have to do as government, we need to have money in the coffers. To get money in the coffers, we need taxes to be paid. To get taxes paid, we need to help people get back in business as soon as possible. There are parts of our economy that are going to be out for a while. For example, the hotels that are damaged or destroyed, restaurants, small and large retail outlets, food stores, car rentals, and even the mom-and-pop entrepreneurs. Most are in the process of rebuilding their lives and livelihoods. As long as their business is not operating, they cannot contribute. They generate no sales, cannot employ people, and cannot pay taxes or fees. Without income from taxes and fees, government cannot finance public services. It is a vicious cycle. It is important that people and businesses are accommodated by government. Now more than ever, the public service has to step up and facilitate the comeback of business activity on St. Martin. And in between all the chaos and destruction, government has to be a stabilizing force that will balance the responsibility to regulate with a desire to facilitate. In other words, we need to be proper and orderly, but also as practical as possible. These are not normal times, ladies and gentlemen. And though government has processes and procedures that must be followed, we have to acknowledge that both business and people and individual citizens will be best served if we can find practical solutions to deal with government's bureaucracy if we are to truly facilitate recovery of the island. Let me give an example. Say a businessman wants to fix his store. He wants to do this as quickly as possible, so he hires a neighbor who he knows is good at construction. This neighbor wanted to, but never started his own company. Because of the great need after Irma, this neighbor pulls the trigger and decides to start up his own construction business. But just as in normal times, the new entrepreneur will be required to complete a procedure of establishing his business. This procedure can take a long time, even in regular times. It is important that his opportunities are not stifled, while government cannot break the rules and should not turn a blind eye to those who operate without regard for the rules. I feel we need to be practical and find ways and means to track and fast-track government. We need to provide expedited service to the public. In the example I just gave, it would be extremely helpful if the government apparatus could bundle their forces across ministries and departments to assist the new entrepreneur in getting his business properly established quickly and efficiently. In the case of my example, the neighbor needs to start his construction company and operate without fear of being on the wrong side of the law. He needs to be guided through the process, and he needs help. Helping him means we help St. Martin. His business will contribute to the economy because it will be hiring people. People who otherwise would be unemployed. By being properly registered and licensed, his construction company will have to pay its fair share and thereby contribute to society.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles, from within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
Of course, the last days have been very much in the news as far as the election decree is concerned. And I emphasize the word decree because the discussions have not been so much about the election itself scheduled for February the 26th, but rather on how this election has come about. There has been correspondence between the Parliament and the government, between the government and the Dutch State Secretary, Mr. Knops. Suffice it therefore to say that it was a unanimous decision of the Parliament of St. Martin of the 10th of November to request the government of St. Martin to send the decree that was there at the time for the election, to send that decree via the Minister Plenipotentiary up for annulment. So it's important to note that that was a motion of the Parliament and a unanimous motion. Since then, a lot has transpired. As I mentioned, there has been communication between the Parliament asking questions of the government responding to those questions, and in addition, the government sending a request pertaining to that decree to the Dutch government. There is also a request for advice regarding the same matter at our local council of advice. So as far as I'm concerned, this matter is going to be put aside until we hear something or another. But now the focus should be on the election, of course, the election for the 26th or on the 26th of February. But also important is what happens between now, the election, and the date that a new parliament will take office. According to that decree for the election, which has dissolved the Parliament of St. Martin, the elections are for the 26th of February, and the new parliament will sit on the 2nd of April. However, government business needs to continue. Part of government business is that the parliament continues to exercise its right and asks accountability from government. That's the way our system works. I believe that Parliament should continue to focus on the recovery, on the reconstruction of St. Martin. This process is going to be a long process. Right now, we are in the middle of discussions regarding the funding that needs to come to St. Martin. The funding that has been agreed to between the Dutch government and the St. Martin government. Yes, a small portion of that funding started following the conclusion that the conditions as set forth have been met. So, when it was concluded by the Dutch government that the conditions of the Integrity Chamber and the Border Control Agreement were met, they gave the go-ahead signal for the funding to St. Martin to start. As I mentioned, it started with funding for projects that are managed by NGOs on St. Martin. Several of those are currently in process. And the bigger part of the funding, which includes two parts. One, the liquidity assistance, so in other words, the financial assistance to the government of St. Martin. And then you have the fund that is supposed to be managed in collaboration with the World Bank. That has been established. So with that being on the way, the Parliament now has to exercise its responsibility, which is keeping a finger on the pulse as to how those programs are going. And now the Dutch government has to constantly be looked at in terms of whether they are complying with their part of the bargain. In order to do that, however, St. Martin needs to make sure that we are doing all that we are supposed to do. An important part of what we are supposed to do as we go forward is setting up an organization on St. Martin that will be the counterpart for the World Bank organization.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
1,
2,
3,
4. This is how common it is to develop a mental illness. 1 out of every 4.
4,
4.
4. But there is hope. Today, most mental illnesses can be managed and treated. Visit your general doctor if you feel concerned about your thoughts and behaviors or have some difficulty dealing with some of life's issues.
If you have been diagnosed and are suffering from a mental illness, keep in mind these 4 points to help you manage your mental health.
1. Get regular checkups with your general doctor.
2. Stay on your treatment plan to prevent relapses.
3. Find a strong support group in your family and friends.
And 4. Never be afraid to ask for help and look out for the warning signs of your illness. Remember, you are not alone. We are as close as one.
2.
3.
4.
Learn about mental health illness by going to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
With all these types of conditions, we were just getting out of the financial control. We had 3 balanced budgets. With another one, we could have renegotiated for the CFT not to have the huge role it has now. Now we put another condition on us. Nobody had a problem with integrity chamber. Our integrity chamber law was proposed with local, the ombudsman, the general audit chamber, the Raad van Advies, those people that we already put in place to monitor government, that they would be the ones monitoring government. And then these same people crying about screening of candidates now. Amazing. Who was the minister? The prime minister when the LBA was signed as to how candidate ministers would be screened. It was the Honorable Chair Lady of Parliament, current Chair Lady of Parliament, Mrs. Sarah Westcott Williams. She was the Prime Minister at the time. How come she doesn't understand what is being done with the screening? Who are we trying to fool? The people of St. Martin are not stupid. The people of St. Martin already directly told that leader of the Democratic Party, we have no confidence in you. Everybody's highlighting they don't have confidence in William. But William had 8 votes less than me. 8 in this last election. I had 7 whatever and he had 7 whatever. We were like this. Okay? How much she had? How much did the then head of the Democratic Party have, and how many votes did Emily have? He had 223 votes more than her, but I ain't hear nobody saying it's time for her to go home. If William has been there too long, according to some, then what about her? I have no personal issue with these people, you know. But I'm saying, if we're going to draw a line and measure the National Alliance by this line, draw that line for each and every party. And when you put us on the scale next to each other, book which party has worked for you. Book which party has made sure big businesses benefit. And book which party has made sure community development has happened. And you will see that it is the National Alliance. Today, we have a United Democrats. Back in the day when we said they're still DP anyway, when it became UP, and why it become UP? For the same reason, the people talking about today or last year or the year before William should allow Silveria to run. Because Taya was getting more votes than Sarah. Oh, you remember that? How come Sarah didn't allow Teo to lead the party back then? They would have remained DP to today.